Our scripture reading today is from Jeremiah 31, verses 1 through 4. It says, "In that day, says the Lord, I will be the God of all the families of Israel, and they will be my people. This is what the Lord says. Those who survive the coming destruction will find blessings even in the barren land, for I will give rest to the people of Israel. Long ago, the Lord said to Israel, I have loved you, my people, with an everlasting love. With unfailing love, I have drawn you to myself. I will rebuild you, my virgin Israel. You will again be happy and dance merrily with your tambourines." In 1 Corinthians 13, beginning with verse 4, it says, "Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged." There we go. "It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance." And James 1, beginning with verse 19, says, "Understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. So get rid of all the filth and evil in your lives and humbly accept the word God has planted in your hearts, for it has the power to save your souls." May the Lord add his blessing on the readers, hearers, and doers of his word. Shall we stand? Last week, we began a series of sermons on the love languages. It's based on the book, The 5 Love Languages. And there were those that took a test last week. We still have paper copies, so if you would like to take the test, Mary Lou and John, if you would just raise your hand if you want one. We've been calculating results. I say we, I use that term loosely because I didn't have anything to do with it. Mary Lou did that for me. And so far we have 15 turned in, and the results were amazing to me because it told me a lot. There's 5 different gifts, and we're going to get into those again today. The one that had the top total, and this was by far, superior, and that was, go ahead and, and the top one was words of affirmation with 9 out of 15 people. That is their top love language. So in other words, what that says to me is you guys really like it when people say good things to you, compliment you, that kind of thing. And we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. Acts of service, as far as the top total, was 0. Receiving gifts, as top total was 0. Those who had quality time as the top total is 4. And then those who had touch as top total were 4. So you can see that quality time and touch were equal, and then the big one was the words of affirmation. So that's our total so far, and with more participating, maybe we can change those statistics yet, but I just wanted to give you the report so far. Now, we were talking about love languages, and each one of us, if I can use this term, and you probably will understand this term, although me being raised on the farm, which many of you have farm backgrounds, will probably understand too. When I think of a tank, I think of a tank to feed cattle. So, but where I'm coming from with this is that each of us has a love tank. And that love tank is either full or empty or somewhere in between. And so where are we at with our love tanks? Well, Knowing that love is the most important word in the English language is very helpful, but it can also be the most confusing, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I know that I am safe to say every one of us here has the need to feel love and be loved. That is just something we are all a part of, and that's where we call this our love tank. And you know, your love tank may be running low, and so usually there's something someone can do to make it full again. Me being a mother, my love tank is full because our college daughters came home this weekend. Yay! But they just left before we came here, so that's where we have to move right along. So what is interesting to know is that people behave differently when their emotional love tanks are full. And maybe you know this about yourself, maybe you can see this in others, but people will behave differently if their emotional love tank is full. Now, the confusing aspect of love is, and we talked a little bit about this last week too, but the confusing thing about love is that we use the word love in so many different ways. I love hot dogs, and trust me, when I say I love, this does not reflect who I am, okay? I mean, some of it may not, because that could sound, anyway. I love my mother. I love to swim, ski, and hunt. I love dogs, cats, rats, and mice. I love trees, grass, flowers, and weather. I love my father, my mother, my son, my daughter, my wife, my husband, my friends. We even fall in love with love. If that isn't confusing enough, we use love to explain our behavior. I did it because I love her. Oh. That explanation is given for all kinds of actions. A man may be involved in an adulterous relationship and he calls it love. The Bible calls it sin. Or the wife of an alcoholic picks up the pieces after her husband's latest episode and calls us love. The psychologist calls it codependency. Or the parent indulges all the child's wishes, calling it love. The family therapist would call it irresponsible parenting. So our purpose in this love language series is not to dwell on the confusing aspects of love, but rather to learn more about love. Love is something that we can always use more of. To love the way that Christ loves, unconditionally, perfect all the time. And does anybody love all the time here? No, okay, I don't see any hands. And my hand isn't up either. There are times that I just don't feel like loving, okay? All right, so today we're going to look at the first two that we talked about last week. Last week was just kind of an overview. So if you weren't here last week, it's okay because you're still going to get a good part of this. Out of the 5, we're going to deal with 2 today, hopefully 2 next week, and then the last one on the last Sunday of February, plus we'll just wrap it all up then. But we're going to, first of all, talk about words of affirmation. Mark Twain was quoted as saying, "I can live for 2 months on a good compliment." I don't know what you think about that. I don't know that I'm quite there. And according to our studies earlier, or a report, that probably you can't live on a good compliment one every 2 months either. And so, many people who have a relationship with another person, whether it be marriage or friend to friend, because I want to be sensitive, not everybody is married, but you have friends. Anyway, you have never learned, or perhaps you have never learned the powerful effect of affirming one another. Do you know how to affirm one another? Well, that's what words of affirmation is all about. When we give verbal compliments or words of appreciation, we are showing love. For instance, if I say, or you say to somebody else, "That's a good color for you," it's probably going to make you smile, okay? Or, "You really look nice in that outfit." That would be another thing. Or, I like the way you're wearing your hair these days. These all sound like girly comments. So I got to do a guy compliment. I really appreciate you taking the garbage out. Okay, now that's association. Sometimes women take the garbage out because however you divide things up in the home. I'm not trying to show partiality. Keep in mind this saying: the object of love is not getting something you want, but doing something for the well-being of the one you love. It is a fact, however, that when we receive affirming words, we are far more likely to be motivated to reciprocate. So I'm going to tell you, you guys look really great today. Can I tell you that?
So do you.
Oh, thank you. I bought right into that whole reciprocation thing. Whoa. I'll tell you a little story about myself. When I was in junior high, I had this acquaintance, started out as acquaintance, but later turned into friend. But she taught me so much. She would say things to me like, you really look good in that outfit. And I would say, oh, that old thing. You like that on me? Well, what did I just do? I just totally dismissed her compliment. And she taught me that what I needed to say was just a simple thank you. And for the most part, I've learned to do that. There's still once in a while, and I think, oh man, I'm not dressed very well or whatever. And I've learned just back that out of my head and just say thank you. So, but we have to be careful too that compliments are not to be confused with flattery. Because flattery is something used to get something from somebody else, and that's not what compliments are. Okay, so along with the words of affirmation, breaking the words of affirmation up, we have encouraging words. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, so encourage each other and build each other up, just as you are already doing. Now, the definition of encourage means to inspire courage, to inspire courage. All of us have areas in which we feel insecure, and it comes out in different ways. We may lack courage, and that lack of courage can hinder us from accomplishing the positive things that we would like to do. An example of that, if you've ever been in my office, feel free to go in there. I've got nothing to hide. I have up on my wall in my office a paint by number painting. And there's a story behind that. A few years ago, I just had this need to paint. And so I did paint by number because I can do that. And so I was doing the paint by number. And I got so far, and then I put it aside. And I don't know if it took months or a year. I don't know how long it took. But I would not finish it. And I thought, well, what's going on here? Why can't I finish this? And it wasn't until I realized some things about myself and my own insecurities that helped me to push through with God's help to finish the painting. And that's exactly what I did. And it's just a beautiful, I think it's called Guardian by the Sea. So it's just a beautiful painting. And it's not beautiful because I painted it. It's just a beautiful, it's a reminder to me of what God can do when we just give him our insecurities. Another way of having words of affirmation is through kind words. Kind words can express love. In our communicating verbally, sometimes people tend to hear the tone of our voice more than what we actually say. For instance, I would be delighted to wash the dishes tonight. Or, I would be delighted to wash the dishes tonight. Okay. So in expressing yourself in a loving way, here's another way. You could say, I felt disappointed and hurt that you didn't offer to help me this evening. And that could be an honest, kind manner of an expression of love. And this approach is looking for healing for the hurt. And our daughters taught me a new one this past week, so this is really even current. And that was, some of us, maybe all of us, are guilty of saying, I'm sorry. We say, I'm sorry a lot. I'm sorry I was late to blah, 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 blah. Okay, and we're always sorry, always sorry. Well, there's just kind of a connotation with that. And so this is what they taught me to say. You're supposed to say, thank you for being patient with me while I was running late. Wow. That kind of changes things up, doesn't it? So it all kind of, depends on your tone of voice. If you have an edge to your voice, that can really not show so much an expression of love if your voice is growly or loud. And it's like the thing about our all things in all caps. We know that that's shouting, when in some people's minds that's the only way they can type, and they're not shouting, but that's kind of our culture today. Another way of having words of affirmation is through humble words. Please understand that love makes requests, not demands. Demands do not build intimacy with another individual. To the wife who says, do you think it will be possible for you to clean the gutters this weekend? And every husband says, why, sure, honey. Oh, okay. Well, does the demand work? Okay, here's the demand. If you don't get those gutters cleaned out soon, they are going to fall off the house. They already have trees growing out of them. Yeah, how many men were moved on that one? No. So you can see which is an expression of love. And, I tried these things with Ken, and it works a whole lot better. The kindness. Oh, whoops! He's doing this. Well, when your daughters come home from college and say to you, Mom, Dad, you both look younger. And you're going, okay, what are we doing? Extra vitamins? I don't know. But you kind of like that. And that was not flattery. That was compliment. But going back to this request versus demand, a request will make a person feel affirmed, whereas a demand will make a person feel belittled. Now, the example is given of a husband and wife. The husband works very hard, dutifully, bringing home a nice paycheck, which is his way of showing his love to his wife and children. The wife, on the other hand, doesn't believe her husband loves her because he never gives her any attention. They never do anything together, she says. So the husband's love language would be acts of service. He's doing things to prove his love to the wife and kids. The wife's love language would be quality time. Now, the next one we're going to deal with today is quality time. Defining quality time as giving someone your undivided attention. Undivided attention. What does this look like? Does this mean I can't be talking, or I can't be multitasking if you multitask, how are you really giving undivided attention? And, it can be on the sofa, it can be going out to eat, it could mean taking a walk together, but giving another person that quality time, undivided attention is a powerful emotional communicator of love. I've tried it, and it really is powerful. And I'm sure many of you have tried it too. But again, we've got to remember that what makes one person feel loved emotionally is not always the thing that makes another person feel loved emotionally. Going back to the love tank. The central aspect of quality time is that togetherness. And again, togetherness has to do with focused attention, not necessarily just being in the same room together. For example, A dad may be down on the floor with a ball, throwing a ball to his 2-year-old son. And, it's not about the ball, it's about the father, son, they're together. This is the togetherness. But on the other hand, if a dad is talking on his cell phone while he rolls the ball and his attention is divided and diminished, and the 2-year-old gets the bum deal out of the scenario. So, but quality time does not mean that we have to spend our moments together gazing into one another's eyes all the time. But it means that we are doing something together and that we are giving our full attention to the other person. And it's not about what we do together, but rather we are spending focused time with each other. Something we like to do as a family is watch movies together. And the ladies at coffee time here a while back were talking about movies. And thanks to Nadine's recommendation, I've now seen this movie twice. Once with Ken, and then last night we saw it with the girls, and they loved it. And I think it's one of those you have to be a music lover to appreciate it, but it's the Florence Foster Jenkins movie, and it's totally hilarious. So that's something that we do together. Now we're not looking at each other, but we're laughing together, and so that's good. Okay, so quality conversation is not words of affirmation. Okay, quality conversation is not words of affirmation. Why am I saying this? Because words of affirmation focus on what we are saying, but quality conversation focuses on what we are hearing. And it's like this. If I am sharing my love for you by means of quality time and we are going to engage in a conversation, it means I will focus on drawing you out, listening sympathetically to what you have to say. I will ask questions, not in a badgering manner, but with a genuine desire to understand your thoughts and feelings. Now, I'm sure that you would agree that we can all be better listeners. In our relationships with others, it is not always simple or easy to be a good listener. And I'm going to give you some ideas for us to be better listeners, as that will show our love for one another. First of all is to maintain eye contact when another person is talking. If someone's talking to you and you're just, or on your phone, how can they know that you are really paying attention to them? And secondly, don't listen to the other person in your relationship or friendship and do something else at the same time. And if you find this difficult to do, try a positive approach like this. I know you are trying to talk to me and I'm interested, but I want to give you my full attention. I can't do that right now, but if you will give me 10 minutes to finish this, I'll sit down and listen to you. I had one of those cases this past week, only it was a phone call. Somebody wanted to call me and I hadn't seen or talked to this person in, I can't tell you how many years. And this person wanted 10 minutes of my time on the phone. Okay, I can do this. That 10 minutes went into 42. So you just never know. But, this person needed to talk, obviously, and I was there to listen. Another thing you can do is to listen for feelings. And the question you need to ask yourself is, what emotion is the other person experiencing? What emotion is the other person experiencing? When you think you have the answer, check it out by asking them something like this. It sounds to me like you are feeling disappointed because I forgot to take out the trash. I'm sorry. That's just an example. Okay. It's the trash thing all over again, but no. And that gives the other person a chance to clarify his or her feelings. And it also communicates that you are listening intently to what he or she is saying. Another thing is to observe body language. If you are sitting in that pew and you're just clenching your fists and clenching your teeth, then I'm going, okay, I guess you don't want to listen to, but no, or trembling hands or tears or just various things, body language may give you clues as to what the other person is feeling. Sometimes body language speaks one message while words speak another. And so you need to ask the person to make sure you know what that person is really thinking and feeling. And then the last one is refuse to interrupt. Recent research, are you ready for this? Recent research has indicated that the average person listens for only 17 seconds before interrupting and interjecting his or her own ideas. And our goal as a good listener should be to discover the other person's thoughts and feelings. It should not be to defend ourselves or set the other person straight. And it is to understand the other person, thus showing love. Okay, I want to end the message with a story that is rather humorous, just to bring a little humor, because I know there's been a lot of that. Maybe not for you, for me, okay, because I get a lot out of this stuff here. The story is told of a husband and wife who had been married 60 years. They shared everything. They had talked about everything. They kept no secrets from each other except that the little old woman had a shoebox in the top of her closet that she had cautioned her husband never to open or ask her about it. And for all of these years, he had never thought about the box, but one day, the little old woman got very sick, and the doctor said she would not recover. In trying to sort out their affairs, the little old man took down the shoebox and took it to his wife's bedside. She agreed that it was time that he should know what was in the box. When he opened it, he found 2 crocheted dolls and a stack of money totaling $95,000. He asked about the contents. Well, when we were married, she said, my grandmother told me the secret of a happy marriage was to never argue. She told me that if I ever got angry with you, I should just keep quiet and crochet a doll. The little old man was so moved that he had to fight back tears. Only 2 precious crocheted dolls were in the box. She had only been angry with him 2 times in all those years of living and loving. He almost burst with happiness. Honey, he said, that explains the dolls, but what about all of this money? Where did it come from? Oh, she said, that's the money I made from selling the dolls. Yeah. Well, let's turn in our green hymnal to